Welcome to Finance Empire Real Life Stories. Have you ever spent an entire day worrying about what other people think of you? Maybe you said something awkward, made a mistake in public, or walked into a room and instantly felt like you didn't belong there. Now imagine this. You arrive at an important company event. You want to make a great first impression. You spend hours getting ready. You carefully choose your clothes. You check yourself in the mirror one last time and think, perfect. Everyone is going to be impressed. Then you arrive, and the moment you step through the gate, your stomach drops. Everyone else is dressed casually. Shorts, t-shirts, sandals. Meanwhile, you're standing there looking like you're about to attend the Oscars. At that moment, only one question enters your mind. How fast can I get back to my car? Today's story follows Leo through one of the most embarrassing afternoons of his life. A simple misunderstanding turns into a social nightmare, but sometimes life has a strange way of rewarding the people who stay instead of running away. So grab your favourite drink, get comfortable, and let's jump into today's story. Leo adjusted his bow tie one final time as he sat inside his car. The reflection staring back at him looked confident, successful, and professional. Exactly the image he wanted. Starting a new job had been exciting, but stressful. He wanted people to take him seriously. He wanted to stand out for the right reasons. Unfortunately, life had completely different plans. Earlier in the week, his boss, Mr. Harrison, had invited everyone to a celebration party at his home. The company had reached a major milestone. Everyone was excited. The invitation looked formal. The location was beautiful. And then there was that joke in the group chat about wearing suits and gowns. Leo never realised it was a joke. Now he parked outside the house, feeling proud of his decision. He stepped out of the car, straightened his jacket, closed the door, and walked toward the backyard. Music floated through the air. People laughed. The smell of barbecue drifted from the yard. Everything felt normal. Until he opened the gate. His entire body froze. For several seconds, his brain simply refused to process what his eyes were seeing. Flip-flops, cargo shorts, baseball caps, bright Hawaiian shirts, summer dresses, everywhere. His boss stood beside the grill wearing old sandals and a t-shirt that said, King of the BBQ. Leo felt his soul leave his body. He wanted to disappear. Not walk away. Not leave. Disappear. The kind of disappearance that only magic could provide. A few employees looked over, then a few more, then almost everyone. The conversations didn't stop completely, but they definitely slowed down. Leo could practically hear their thoughts. Why is he wearing a tuxedo? Did he come from a wedding? Did he get lost? One intern laughed so hard he nearly dropped his lemonade. Leo considered turning around immediately. Maybe nobody would notice. Maybe he could quietly sneak away. Maybe. Leo! The loud voice shattered his hopes. Mr. Harrison had spotted him. The boss walked over with the biggest smile Leo had ever seen. The smile of a man who had just found free entertainment. Well, Harrison laughed. Someone understood the assignment a little differently. Several people laughed. Leo smiled awkwardly. Inside, however, he was planning his funeral. The boss slapped him on the shoulder. I love the effort, seriously, but if you start sweating through that tuxedo, don't blame me. More laughter. Leo forced himself to laugh too, because what else could he do? The next few minutes felt like walking through a nightmare. Everywhere he went, people looked. Every conversation started with the same topic. The tuxedo. The suit. The outfit. The James Bond look. No matter what he talked about, people eventually returned to it. After 30 minutes, Leo felt exhausted. Not physically, emotionally. The constant attention was draining him. At one point, he stood near the drinks table pretending to be fascinated by a cooler full of ice. Anything was better than another conversation about his clothes. Then something unexpected happened. Marcus from accounting approached him. Instead of laughing, Marcus handed him a soda. You know, Marcus said, I probably would have made the same mistake. Leo looked surprised. Really? Marcus nodded. Absolutely. The group chat joke fooled me too. My wife stopped me from wearing a suit. For the first time all afternoon, Leo laughed naturally. Not the fake nervous laugh. A real laugh. The kind that feels good. Slowly other employees joined the conversation, and something interesting happened. The more Leo joked about his mistake, the less embarrassing it felt. The more relaxed he became, the more comfortable everyone else became. People stopped laughing at him. Instead, they started laughing with him. There was a huge difference. The afternoon began improving. Until disaster struck again. A volleyball game nearby became a little too energetic. Someone hit the ball. Someone else missed. The ball flew toward Leo's group. Marcus tried to save it. His hand hit a cup. The cup launched through the air. Bright red fruit punch exploded directly across Leo's white shirt. Everyone gasped. Silence. Leo looked down. Red stains spread across his expensive shirt. One stain sat directly over his heart. Another covered his collar. It looked terrible. For 1 second, Leo thought he might actually scream. Not because of the shirt, because he couldn't believe things were somehow getting worse. The universe wasn't finished with him yet. Marcus looked horrified. Chloe looked horrified. Even strangers nearby looked horrified. Then Leo suddenly started laughing. At first it was a small laugh, then a bigger laugh. Then everyone joined him. What else could he do? The day was already a disaster. A little fruit punch wasn't going to destroy it further. In fact, something strange happened. The moment Leo laughed at himself, everyone relaxed. The embarrassment lost its power. The mistake stopped controlling him. And that changed everything. Later, while searching for a place to clean his shirt, Leo discovered a quiet patio hidden behind the house. He thought he was alone. He wasn't. A woman sat on a wooden bench nearby. She wore a beautiful navy blue dress, but on her feet were bright neon green running shoes. Leo stared. The woman laughed. My high heels broke 10 minutes after I arrived. Leo couldn't stop smiling. For the first time all day, he met someone who understood exactly how it felt to stand out for the wrong reason. Her name was Sarah, and over the next hour their conversation would completely change the direction of Leo's day. But Leo didn't know that yet. All he knew was that for the first time since arriving at the party, he wasn't thinking about his tuxedo anymore. He was simply enjoying a conversation. Little did he realize that only a few minutes later, a powerful investor would walk through that patio door. And because of one misunderstanding, one tuxedo, and one lucky coincidence, Leo's career was about to change forever. अगर आप YouTube narration के लिए suspenseful ending चाहते हैं, तो to be continued in part 2 की जगह ये use कर सकते हैं. But what happened next completely changed everything. The most embarrassing day of Leo's life was about to turn into the biggest opportunity he had ever received. And trust me, nobody saw it coming. We'll find out exactly what happened in part 2. Ya fir, or Ziyada engaging version, Leo thought his day couldn't get any worse. He was wrong. Because just a few minutes later, one unexpected conversation would change his reputation, his career, and possibly his entire future. So don't miss part 2, because the best part of this story is still ahead. Your short viral hook. What started as a wardrobe disaster was about to become Leo's greatest success story. But how? You'll find out in part 2. Welcome to Finance Empire and Growth Han Yin Han Ning and now real life stories. Before we continue, I want you to think about something for a moment. Have you ever had one of those days where everything seemed to go wrong? A day where you made one small mistake and felt like everyone around you was judging you. Maybe you said the wrong thing, sent a message to the wrong person, or showed up somewhere completely unprepared. In those moments, it feels like the world is ending. But sometimes the moments we fear the most become the moments that change our lives forever. And that's exactly what was about to happen to Leo. When we left him, he was standing on a quiet patio behind the house, trying to escape the embarrassment of being the only person wearing a tuxedo at a casual backyard barbecue. His white shirt was covered with fruit punch stains. His confidence had taken a beating, and he was wondering how much longer he could survive the party. Yet somehow talking with Sarah had helped. For the first time all afternoon, Leo felt relaxed. Sarah sat beside him on the wooden bench, laughing about her broken high heels and neon green running shoes. You know, Sarah said with a smile, I think people spend too much time worrying about being perfect. Leo looked down at the red stains on his shirt. Easy for you to say. Sarah laughed. No, really. Think about it. Everybody at this party will forget what people wore, but they'll remember how people treated them. Leo thought about that for a moment. Maybe she was right. Maybe nobody actually cared as much as he imagined. Maybe the embarrassment only felt huge because he kept focusing on it. Just then, the patio door opened. A tall man stepped outside while talking on his phone. His expensive grey suit immediately stood out from the casual crowd. The man ended his call and looked around. Then his eyes landed on Leo. Instantly, his face brightened. "There you are," the man said. Leo blinked. "Excuse me?" The man walked over quickly. "I've been looking everywhere for you." Leo exchanged a confused glance with Sarah. The stranger extended his hand. "Arthur Vance, Capital Investment Group." Leo shook his hand automatically. Arthur smiled. "I have to say, it's nice to see someone else dressed professionally around here." Leo nearly laughed. If only this man knew the truth. Arthur continued speaking. "When Harrison told me there would be a company gathering, I expected something a little more formal. Then I arrived and saw people wearing flip-flops and baseball caps." He lowered his voice. "For a second, I thought I had the wrong address." Sarah bit her lip to stop herself from laughing. Leo realized what was happening. Arthur assumed he was some important executive, all because of the tuxedo. The very outfit that had embarrassed him all afternoon was suddenly creating a completely different impression. Arthur began discussing business. Normally, Leo would have felt nervous, but after surviving hours of embarrassment, a business conversation felt easy. They talked about the company's future, market trends, new opportunities, potential expansion plans. Arthur seemed impressed, very impressed. As they walked back toward the main lawn, people noticed them immediately. The same employees who had laughed at Leo earlier now watched him having an important conversation with the company's biggest investor. Suddenly, nobody was laughing anymore. They were curious. Mr. Harrison spotted them and walked over. His eyes widened. "Arthur, you've met Leo." Arthur smiled. "Of course, outstanding young man." Leo tried not to look surprised. Arthur continued. "We've had a fascinating conversation." Mr. Harrison looked genuinely shocked. "Really?" "Absolutely," Arthur replied. "He has excellent ideas and a strong understanding of where the company should be heading." Leo could barely believe what he was hearing. A few hours ago, he wanted to run away. Now one of the most important people at the event was praising him. Life worked in strange ways. As the afternoon continued, everything changed. People who barely knew Leo started talking with him. Managers introduced themselves. Team leaders asked about his projects. Even employees from different departments stopped by to chat. His tuxedo had gone from being a joke to becoming a symbol. People weren't looking at him because he was different anymore. They were looking at him because he had confidence. And confidence attracts attention. As the sun slowly began setting, the atmosphere became even more relaxed. Music played softly in the background. The smell of barbecue filled the air. People gathered around picnic tables, sharing stories and laughing together. Leo found himself enjoying the party. Actually enjoying it, something he never thought possible a few hours earlier. At one point, Sarah joined him near the drink table. "Looks like things worked out pretty well," she said. Leo smiled. "I guess they did. You know what the funny part is?" "What?" "If you had dressed normally, Arthur probably never would have noticed you." Leo laughed. She was right. The mistake that seemed so terrible had actually opened a door. A door that never would have existed otherwise. As the evening came to an end, Mr. Harrison gathered everyone together. The crowd slowly became quiet. The boss raised a glass. "Before everyone leaves, I just want to thank you for being here." People applauded. Then Harrison smiled. "And I want to give a special thanks to Leo." Immediately everyone turned toward him. Leo felt his face grow warm. "Today Leo taught us something important." The crowd listened. Sometimes mistakes become opportunities. Several people nodded. Harrison continued. "Most people would have gone home after realizing they wore the wrong outfit." A few laughs spread through the crowd. "But Leo stayed." More nods. He handled the situation with professionalism, humor, and confidence. The applause started. At first it was small, then it grew louder. Soon the entire backyard was clapping. Leo couldn't believe it. The same people who had stared at him earlier were now cheering for him. In that moment, he understood something important. Most embarrassment exists only in our minds. People aren't nearly as focused on our mistakes as we think they are. They're too busy worrying about their own. When the party finally ended, Leo walked back to his car carrying his tuxedo jacket over one shoulder. The evening air felt cool and refreshing. He looked up at the sky and smiled. The day hadn't gone according to plan, not even close. But maybe that was a good thing, because sometimes the best moments in life happen when our plans fall apart. The next Monday morning, Leo arrived at the office expecting everything to feel awkward. Instead, people greeted him with smiles. "Morning, James Bond. Nice tuxedo. Looking sharp today." The comments were playful and friendly. Not mean, not cruel. Friendly. He had become part of the team. Later that afternoon, he received an email. It was from Mr. Harrison. The boss wanted him involved in an important new project, a project connected directly to Arthur Vance's investment group. Leo stared at the screen. One misunderstanding, one embarrassing mistake, one uncomfortable afternoon, and somehow it had led to this opportunity. As he leaned back in his chair, he remembered how badly he wanted to run away when he first arrived at the party. What would have happened if he had left? He never would have met Sarah, never would have met Arthur, never would have earned the respect of his co-workers, never would have received this opportunity. Sometimes success doesn't come from avoiding mistakes. Sometimes success comes from staying calm after making them, and that's a lesson Leo would never forget. Because in the end, people didn't remember the tuxedo, they remembered the person wearing it, and that made all the difference.